Are you able to be on the screen with me at the same time, 50-50?
I'll be there in and out, Prabhu.
Okay.
Okay, we're live, Ishan Prabhu. Can you introduce the topic and you can take over from here?
Okay, I'll just say a few little prayers and then Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Satarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nitya Nanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, and thank you very much. And today we're going to discuss the subject of pure devotional service. So that takes us to page 1 in the Nectar of Devotion. And if we can just get page 1, we'll be doing pretty good. So here it is written by Srila Prabhupada in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, the 29th chapter, the 10th verse, verse number 10. Srila Kapila Dev, the incarnation of Krishna. Srila Kapila Dev, he's instructing his mother. While instructing his mother, he has given the following characteristic of pure devotional service. What is pure devotional service? And here's what he says, quote, "My dear mother, those who are my pure devotees and who have no desire for any material benefit or philosophical speculation, they have their mind so much engaged in my service that they're never interested in asking me for anything except to be engaged in that service. They do not even beg to live in my abode with me." So there's a lot there. These pure devotees of Srila Rupa Goswami, he's describing this platform of pure devotional service. And they're not all over the world. There are different religions. We have Hinduism, so-called. We have the Muslim religion. We have Christianity, Catholicism. We have the Judaic tradition. more or less across the board. For them, religion means that God, I think his name, I forget his name, but the owner of Amazon.com, uh, anyway, they think of God as the big Amazon.com, and they're placing their orders. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says these people are very pious. They want money or they want material facilities. They're pious because they're recognizing where everything comes. Everything comes from Krishna. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that not a blade of grass in material creation, not a blade of grass moves except by the will of the Lord, that he's in charge of everything. Everything. People say good luck and bad luck. There's no good luck and bad luck in this world. Everything is on schedule. Everything is a question of karma or that we earn in this life, in past lifetimes. We are getting the fruits of our activities. This is called the law of karma. So we never know what will happen to us at the next moment or what will arise within our hearts. And the only way, sinful desires, actually, Shastra, our scriptures explain that we've been in this material world for millions of births through all the different species of life. I was looking on my desk while chanting japa in the morning, tiny little insects with wings, the size
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
less than a pinhead, so small. And I was looking through magnifying glass. They have wings, they have eyes, they have legs, they have digestive systems, they eat, they sleep, they have children, and many of these tiny insects, they don't live more than a day, 24 hours, their whole life. And similarly, our lifetime relative to Lord Brahma, who's also a conditioned soul within the material world, our lifetime is less than that. It's like a tiny flash, but we're taking everything very seriously, trying to make everything work in a nice way and trying to collect so many things. Houses and cars and clothes and reputations and power and fame and whatnot. And then it's all gone. In the blink of an eye, all gone. And what is our next body? Our next body is the result of our past activities, the law of karma. So anyway, there are those. So what is this this process? Why are we here? And we read in the spiritual world, everything is so nice, and there's no old age, there's no birth, there's no disease, and nobody dies. There's no struggle for existence. Whatever they think, it exists. If they want to serve Krishna and in a certain way, all facility is there. And this is the spiritual world. And they're so happy. But there's a certain, it's just like in every major city in America or anywhere, any country, when they make a city, the planning department, they also make a jail, because there are those, every city, every country, they have laws. It's called the Constitution. Everyone has a constitutional position relative to the state. What are their rights and what are their obligations? And for those who cannot abide within those definitions, so they have to make a place for them, and they keep them there. They feed them and they clothe them, but the conditions are not so very nice. It's for them to have a chance to think over that I was free, but now I'm locked up in this position, and these conditions are imposed upon me. Yeah. So every one of us, here we are in this material world, and these conditions are imposed upon us. This is the meaning of the phrase, conditioned souls. We are all conditioned souls. Our existence is subject to the conditions of the material world. Srila Prabhupada says we've made a bad bargain. We have desired to be independent. Why should Krishna be the center of everyone's attention? Why should we be loving Krishna only? Why not? Why can't I have this position? This is called envy. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions in the 9th chapter, Anasuyave. He says to Arjuna, I'm talking to you, this Bhagavad Gita, this science of Krishna consciousness, because you're Anasuyave, you're not envious of me. So I can tell you these most confidential thing, that if you love me, all of your material problems will immediately evaporate. The situations may not appear wonderful, but in your heart, you'll be so much filled with happiness, with ecstasy, joyful, that none of it will mean anything to you. You won't mind. You'll be able to accept everything very nicely. So, but somehow or other, you and me, here we are. We're conditioned souls. We're in it's a minority group. We're a minority group. We're the ones who couldn't abide by understanding our constitutional position. So why has Krishna made us? Why do we exist at all? Because Krishna, he's like us. If we understand Krishna, if we understand ourselves, we can understand Krishna to some extent. That it's very nice when people love you, when people love me, we feel good. Krishna enjoys being loved. God enjoys being loved. Therefore, he created unlimited, trillions, unlimited, there's no limit, souls, and that they can love Krishna, and Krishna reciprocates with all of them simultaneously. Can you imagine what kind of person Krishna is, that he can reciprocate simultaneously with unlimited trillions, I don't have words for it, amounts of souls, not only in the Krishna Loka, but there's unlimited Vaikuntha planets where the residents in Krishna Loka, they don't know that Krishna is God. Imagine. In the Vaikuntha Lokas, they're very devotional, but they have great respect. It's called awe and veneration for the greatness of God. And they worship Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, Lord Vishnu, and his consort, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. But they know, they understand that Krishna is God. They see him like a great king, but they enjoy this service, this serving mood. It's dasya rasa. But in Krishna Loka, Krishna says, it's written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishna, he says, this awe and veneration, where people recognize me as God, it's not so interesting to me. He really likes, best of all, just like Mother Jashoda thinks Krishna is naughty, so she tries to tie him up with a rope. And so the Krishna's friends, they wrestle with him when he goes out to tend the cows, the calves, and they challenge Krishna. Balaram has one team, Krishna has another team, just like we have teams in the material world, football, baseball. So they have different. It says, I was reading that when they're walking out, their mothers are making them little lunch bags, and one boy is stealing the lunch bag of another boy, and the boy who's been stolen from, he's chasing him, and that boy is throwing his lunch to another boy, and they're having great fun, and they're with Krishna on the bank of the Yamuna River, on the sand, talking, joking like that. So Krishna, he's not so much interested in being seen as God. It's much more fun for him that they don't know that he's God. And some of them are his friends. Some of them are the servants in his house. Mother Jashoda, she has a household to take care of. And there are different servants, Raktak, Patrak. They're helping to dress Krishna and things like that. Sometimes one of Krishna's friends comes over and he's helping to dress Krishna, and Krishna has a little stick or a flute and he's poking his friend, and Mother Jashoda says, don't do that to your friend. Krishna is enjoying like that. And Krishna has a friend called Madhu Mangal. Madhu Mangal, he has the role of a Brahmin. He's a Brahmin boy, and he's Krishna's Brahmin friend, but he really likes to eat sweet things, and he says to Krishna that because the Brahmins, they can give blessing. A real Brahmin can give blessing. Actually, they have power like that. Not today very much. It takes more than a 10-cent piece of thread, but a real Brahmin has power to bless people. So Madhu Mangal, he says, Krishna, if you give me another laddu, I'll give you my blessing. Things like that. So they're joking. And so this is life in the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, God is the most immoral person. It's true. In the spiritual world, all the gopi girls who are coming to dance with Krishna at night, they have husbands, because in the Vedic culture, girls are married very young age. And when they hear Krishna's flute, they're running from their homes. And some of them, they're not even dressing themselves properly. They're so excited to go and be with Krishna. Some of them putting the top part of their clothes on the bottom and the bottom part on the top, and only one earring, and the cosmetics not very nice, because they're so excited to see Krishna, to be with Krishna. So Krishna, he has these. Of course, Krishna, Bhishma Dev talks about Krishna. He says that Krishna is the supreme brahmachari. He has no sexual desire. He just enjoys being loved. And Srimati Radharani, Krishna, he's just conquered by love, totally conquered by love. He sees that those devotees that love me, of course, Krishna is very blissful. He's in spiritual bliss all the time. But he sees that his devotees have more bliss than he has. So Krishna says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Krishna says, he's describing that he sees how Radharani loves me. He says, desiring, and he wants to understand, because she's so having such spiritual ecstasy. Krishna wants a taste of that. In the verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, desiring to understand the glories of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in me, Krishna says, that she appreciates because of her love. When the more we love Krishna, the more we're able to understand his incredible qualities, his beautiful qualities, and the happiness that she feels when she experiences my love for her. The Supreme Lord, Hari, richly endowed with her devotion, he appeared in the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appears from the ocean. This is Lord Chaitanya, that Krishna wanted to understand what it feels like to love Krishna. It was so beautiful that he wanted to taste this himself. This is his confidential reason for coming to this material world. At the same time, it was the time for the Yuga Avatar to come and spread the chanting of the holy name. He combined both. He taught how to chant the holy name in such a way that if one chants in artidisciplic succession coming from Lord Chaitanya, he's sharing these feelings of love of Krishna. So we say, Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gora Tashe Namaha. He's more magnanimous than any other avatar, even Krishna himself. Because he's sharing this feeling of love for Krishna freely. So if it's so free, why we don't have it? Why, if he's distributing this love of Krishna freely, so magnanimous, this highest love of Krishna, why we don't have it yet? So therefore we have to understand the science of Krishna consciousness. We have to understand that this, just like if you go into the, you go into the plantation or where they're growing mangoes, one man is on the top of the tree, on top of the ladder, he he's picking the mango, sweet mangoes. Today, if you go to the store, of course, they picking everything before it's ripe. But a fruit that ripens on the tree, so sweet. I was in California and I had some fruit off the tree. I had never tasted anything like that in my life, although I had tasted the same fruit from different stores. So he's at the top of the ladder and he's handing down this sweet fruit to the next person on the ladder. He's handing down that same mango very carefully, not to bruise it, to the next person till it comes down, 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 down to us. This is disciplic succession. The sweet taste, the sweet taste of love of Krishna coming down from Lord Chaitanya through disciplic succession to all the people of the world who like in the Bible says, Jesus says, those who have ears, let them hear. Not everyone is ready to hear because we're in the material world. Because why we want, still a little bit envious. We're more concerned about our own fame and glory. It's the disease of the conditioned soul. Therefore, in the family, there is conflict. In the society, there's conflict. In the nation, there's conflict and exploitation. And between nations, there's conflict and wars. There's never been anything in history that we have for thousands of years. Everyone, imperialism, exploitation, slavery. Why? Why is this happening? Because individuals want to be God. They want to be the most important, and so they're all in competition. So here we are. But real love of Krishna. So we were reading today in this verse that Srila Kapila Dev is telling his mother that those who are my pure devotees, they are their minds are so much engaged in my service, and that they're not interested in philosophical speculation. What is that philosophical speculation? And they're not interested in any material facility. If material facility is just like the man is in prison, hardcore criminal. He's in prison. He's not thinking how to get out, how to qualify himself for being a free person. He's thinking how to set up his own society within the prison. This one is providing me with this. This one is my lover. This one, I'm bribing the guards. He's making his situation. He has his pecking order. He's making this is going on in the material world that no one is thinking how to get out, but they're trying to make the prison system work for them. But as long as we're in the prison, we have to accept the conditions of the prison. And so we're called conditioned souls. Birth, old age, disease, and death. Repeated, repeated, repeated. These are the conditions under which we're trying to be God. And what is that philosophical speculation? That, yes, I believe in God. God, everyone is God. We're all God. And they want to merge with God. And they're thinking, and some of them are even thinking that in the spiritual world, there's no personality. In the spiritual world, there's no sense of self. God is just homogenized, being very peaceful, but sometimes he gets bored. He wants to, therefore he comes into the material, he becomes into the material world in little pieces of spirit and encased in material bodies, and all of my nonsense, all of my running after someone else's girlfriend, all of my profit and loss, all of my becoming the owner of Amazon.com or Elon Musk or the President Trump or all of that. They're thinking, oh, this is because we're all, God is having his pastimes. We're all having our pastimes. Such nonsense. So these are the people. And then, of course, but the conditions come. Napoleon is gone. Alexander the Great is gone. Stalin is gone. So Clinton is, I don't know. They're all standing in line. We're all standing in line. There's one line, I don't know from where it comes, for whom the bell tolls. At a certain moment, just like I go to the DMV or some place like that, the motor vehicle division, and you need to renew your driving license. So then you pull a ticket and they call your number. Now hear this message if you can. This goes for every mortal man. Your number now, it's in the can. They call it so discreetly. When death comes knocking at your door, you'll ask him who he's looking for. He'll point at you and say no more and carry you off completely. So these are the conditions for all these little gods who are having their lila. They're having their enjoyment in the material world, subject to these conditions. So Krishna says in this verse we're reading that those are that they're not interested in asking God for anything material. They're not trying to improve their circumstances in the prison house of the material world. They don't want that. The health, wealth, fame, victory over my opponents. My business should prosper. My children should be rich and famous. They're not asking for anything like that, and they're not trying to become God and think that like that. All they want, Krishna says, my pure devotees, they just want to be engaged in my service. They don't even ask, beg, Krishna says. They don't even beg to live with me in my abode. They don't even beg to come to the spiritual world. There's four kinds of Vaishnav liberation. That you can do. If you become a pure devotee, you can have opulences of God. People can become very powerful, very opulent. You can have a form similar to God, and you can live with Him in the spiritual world. So different kind, but they don't even ask for that. They do not even beg to live in my abode with me. Krishna says, why? Why is that? Because therefore the book is called The Nectar of Devotion. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We have to become convinced. We have to become convinced that pure devotional service is so fulfilling, so ecstatic, so wonderful that all a pure devotee wants is to be engaged in that service. That's all a pure devotee wants. Because he feels so, he's not denying himself anything. He only wants that with all of his being. How come it works that way? It says that in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this description, metaphoric. Metaphors are provided so we can have some little understanding. There's like a big, big tree with thousands or millions of little leaves. And every leaf needs that water. And if the leaf is trying to water itself, it doesn't work. And if there's one leaf or two leaf here or there that are trying to water the other leaves, he can't give them what they really need. But if one leaf waters the root, the whole tree, the branches, the fruits, the flowers, the leaves, they all are feeling satisfaction. A pure devotional service. So it means what? Because we're part of Krishna, we feel distant. We feel we have no connection. We're conditioned souls. Gradually, we will feel connection with Krishna, and that connection, what do you call it? The medium of exchange by which we feel connection with Krishna is love. When we reawaken our dormant love for Krishna, that is the watering process, watering the root of because we're part of the tree. We immediately get the sense of reciprocation. Immediately. It's not that instantaneous. And they just want to live in that mode. They say, oh, like we have in our Nadanam na janam na sundarim. I don't want wealth. I don't want followers. I don't want beautiful women. No, all I want is birth after birth. Birth after birth to be in the position of a devotee. He's not asking even to leave the material world. Because it's so nice, he said, you can send me to heaven or hell. I don't care. Just let me be your devotee, because they're having the realization, they're having the experience of what pure devotional service is. That it's so nice. I mean, one can approach Krishna and ask for something, a new car, a new whatever. But that will not, by asking God for material things, we're cultivating our attachment to material things. By approaching God in that way, we're guaranteeing that we're coming back to the material world. Because why? Home is where the heart is. Wherever man proposes, Srila Prabhupada says, and God disposes. God, he sees what we want. He can give us what we want. He can give us material things. He can give us even a sense of merging into the great light of God, the great Brahma Jyoti. But we can't stay there because the heart can never be fulfilled like that. Because as spirit soul, we have a hunger for loving reciprocation. Therefore, even we merge, we can't stay in that position. So we have to, or we want to, understand the glories of pure devotional service. We want to become convinced that this only can fulfill me completely. This only is my real constitutional position. This is my real nature. This is who I really am. And we become convinced like that. But how do we get it? We have to go where that ladder, we were talking about that, where that ladder is leaning against that mango tree, where they're handing down that same fruit, that same flavor, that same taste of devotion. We have to find someone who's working on that ladder, on that team, who's authorized to be part of that team, who has that fruit, who has that taste. He can share that taste with us. That is called bona fide spiritual master. These spiritual masters, they come down from the spiritual world, empowered by Krishna, empowered to because they have this love of Krishna in their heart, they can share with us. So we have to understand, how do I enter into an intimate relationship with such a spiritual master, so that he shares, so that he feels inclined to share that love with us, that love that he has for Krishna. And then we can receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. That is being freely. How do we say? Prema Bhakti Yahahoite, we sing every day. I lived in temples for 10 years or so when Srila Prabhupada was here, a little bit after. And every day we sing 365 times a year, and then 10 years, 3,650 times. Prema Bhakti Yahoite Avidya Vinashayate. That if we can catch from him this love of God that emanates from him freely, if we can catch it, avidya vinasha, all our material desire finished. Then we'll be, if we catch it, and cultivate it, then we'll come to that position. We'll be so much engaged in devotional service, we won't even beg to live with Krishna in the spiritual world. We'll just say, please let me never forget. Let me be your servant, like that. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Sorry, pure devotional service.
You look very nice, Prabhu.
I'm outside now, so you want to say hi? This is my son.
Keshava! Keshava!
Yeah, Keshav, bolo.
Hare Krishna, Keshava.
What are you doing?
Hari Bol.
Bolo. Bolo, Hare Krishna. This kind of who's Krishna? Do you know Krishna? Who is he? Huh?
The devotee?
He's a devotee?
Yeah.
Devotee of who?
Little drum.
Lord Ram. Who's your favorite character in Krishna book?
Hanuman.
Hanuman? Okay.
All right.
Give me this Krishna. Anyways, that's him, he's here for a few more hours, then I drop him off, so.
Sure. Imagine, Prabhu, being born in a devotee's family.
Until the class is over.
Class is just about to be finished.
One.
Just in maybe 5-10 minutes.
How much hours do I have to stay here?
He's asking me all these questions, and we'll talk later. We have Janaspriya also here. Janaspriya, if you have any comments, questions regarding the topic today, you're welcome to speak.
Hare Krishna, Janas Priya Prabhu. It's
You want to say
nice.
something to Ishan Prabhu, Keshav? No?
So,
Can you hear him, what he's saying?
who?
Keshav?
No.
Oh, okay. It's blocking the sound. Ishan Prabhu, I have no questions or comments. I mean, it's pretty clear. Prabhupada's books speak of this philosophy, pure devotional service, and it's rarely achieved. Prabhupada also says that, but it's very easily available through the transparent via medium of the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, the pure devotee. So, I mean, it's very very nice. Prabhupada has given us this wonderful message in his books. He talks about this, and what can we say? That's the only method out of this material world, to revive our eternal loving relationship with Krishna. And we have so many relationships in this world, transitory relationships, mother, father, children, all this. But if we give them Krishna consciousness and they evolve their relationship with Krishna, and it becomes a very nice thing.
I think the movement is just beginning. Because, in the books, it's predicted every town and village for 10,000 years.
Yes.
There will be, and Srila Prabhupada once told me the time will come when there'll be big Sankirtan in the streets everywhere. So we're just, I'll be here in my next birth for sure. So, maybe you and me will be in Gurukula together.
Maybe we'll see, Prabhu. I mean, back to Godhead. But it's not, Prabhupada says, it can be a one life event, or it can be a many lives event. So you mentioned the souls being created. I was reading a comment, or in the dialectic spiritualism, Srila Prabhupada says the souls are not created, they're ever existing.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I believe you're right. That it's for the material mind, it's hard to imagine that
Yes.
God is not, there's no beginning. Eternal
Yeah.
means no end.
Right.
But that's difficult for the mundane mind to grasp
Right.
that. But yes, there never was, even Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, never was there a time when you did not exist, nor all these kings, nor in the future will anyone cease to be.
To be, yes.
So imagine that we're eternal. It's amazing.
Try. I mean, you have studied different philosophies, I bet, in your 80 plus years. So this was the closest, or this was the closest to your heart that has given you more or less all the answers, it seems at least.
I was raised as an atheist,
Mm.
an atheist family. I didn't question my parents. I thought they knew everything. Never occurred to me to question. I went to university. I went to high school and they started to teach science. I went to university and they taught me that religion is for primitive people. The scientists, they thought, now we know better, and that only primitive people believe in God. They taught me like that. It never entered my mind to ask these questions. The only thing entered my mind, my awareness, was that I was not happy. I knew that very well. That
Mhm.
and always confused, bewildered, frightened, frustrated, and wondering. So, how can I make? So they taught that psychology, sociology, all these things. So I was thinking that through science, if I could understand the machine, this mind and body, maybe I can get a tune-up. And but then one day I went to see one of my professors in his office, and he told me, frankly, a younger man, he said, "We really don't know anything. We make all this stuff up." And they used to change the books every year and say, "Don't buy last year's book," because they had new theories.
Right, right, right.
So, but then I met some devotees, and here I am, still, trying to understand, and gradually, little by little, it rubs off on you. It start to get the flavor of it, and you want more. At first, it sounded really great, and there were duties to fulfill, on a daily basis, and reading the books. Didn't understand very much. We read in classes together, but now I like it. I still have material desire, but you know, but I'm developing a taste. I'm reading the same books I read, 50 years ago, and I'm saying, wow, this is really nice.
Mhm.
So every chance I get, I open up one of the books. And I remember when Srila Prabhupada gave me my Brahmin thread,
Mm.
And I thought, they wanted you to do puja, artik ceremony, dressing the deities, offering bhoga to Krishna. And I thought, oh, it might be very complicated and I might not do it right. And I said, he gave me a thread, put on my neck. I said, do I have to do this deity worship? And
Mm.
he said, I was afraid that I wouldn't do it right. And he said, Srila Prabhupada said, what is the difficulty? So I said, oh, okay. So, but now I have my little altar and
Mm.
morning, evening, I wake up everybody on the altar and I chant my japa in front of Srila Prabhupada. And I like it. I wouldn't miss it,
Right.
So it grows on us. It's very powerful, and we're very fortunate. Very fortunate. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Jai Ishan Prabhu. So thank you very much for the wonderful discussion and explanations of Krishna consciousness and your personal realizations. If Janasphere, anything you like to say, you're welcome, or we'll end it here and continue next week. Okay, Ishan Prabhu, we'll end it here. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai.